the mad king of North Korea, a despot armed with nuclear weapons, a power-crazed murderer who gets his girlfriends shot dead, a power-crazed murderer who fed his uncle to the dogs. Kim Jong-un threatens nuclear destruction. The world of crazy Kim. For the past 50 years, the world has grown used to crazy threats from North Korea that don't lead anywhere. But the threats have taken a decidedly sharper and more ominous tone under Kim Jong-un, the demented despot who thinks nothing of feeding his uncles to ravenous dogs and getting his ex-girlfriends shot in cold blood. The third supreme leader of the Hermit Kingdom, Crazy Kim as he is known, has carried out a sixth underground nuclear test, a hydrogen bomb this time that is estimated to be at least 10 times more powerful than the one that wiped out Hiroshima in 1945. It's our big story this evening. The hydrogen bomb that was tested on Sunday is the most powerful North Korea has tested to date, with separate estimates putting the explosive yield at 50 or 120 kilotons. To put that in context, the nuclear bomb dropped on Hiroshima in 1945, which instantly killed 80,000 people, had created a yield of 15 kilotons. Now, the big announcement was made by Pyongyang through its most recognizable newsreader, Ri Chu-hee. The 70-year-old, colorfully dressed veteran was back on screen telling the world about the perfect success of the hydrogen bomb test. For the Kim regime, she is the go-to person when big announcements need to be made. Yesterday, she wore pink and trembled with excitement, smiling broadly as she pronounced the test a huge success.
조선민주주의인민공화국 핵무기연구소 상명 대륙간 탄도로켓 장착용 수소탄 시험에서 완전 성공. 조선노동당의 전략적 핵무력 건설 구상에 따라 우리의 핵과학자들은 9월 3일 12시 우리나라 북부 핵시험장에서 대륙간 탄도로켓 장착용 수소탄 시험을 성공적으로 단행하였다.
So North Korea claims to have successfully tested a massive hydrogen bomb. Literally, that news sent shockwaves across the world. More than 130 quake stations recorded tremors from the mega blast, which after 20 minutes had already reached Argentina, which is more than 12,000 miles away. Hydrogen bombs are thermonuclear weapons, a more advanced and powerful form of nukes. Its impact is beyond frightening. Up to 90% of those who live within a mile of the blast can die from their injuries. Those more than 2.5 miles away will suffer horror third-degree burns, as seen after the blasts in Japan.
Hydrogen bombs have never been used before in warfare. Atomic bombs have. This is what the US dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima back in 1945, ultimately killing more than 200,000 people. But the H-bomb is at least hundreds of times more powerful than the A-bomb. The H-bomb has a far larger yield than traditional weapons, meaning that devices can be smaller while causing greater devastation. Atomic bombs use a process called fission to split plutonium or uranium into smaller atoms in a chain reaction, releasing massive amounts of energy. Hydrogen bombs use fusion. Instead of splitting the atoms, it combines small atoms like hydrogen. Essentially, it's two bombs in one. North Korea first claimed back in January 2016 it had successfully tested a hydrogen bomb. If it does in fact have this capability today, it has joined a very select club. Only the US, Russia, the UK, France and China have carried out confirmed tests of hydrogen bombs.
Now, the hydrogen bomb, without doubt, is North Korea's most potent weapon. Amidst criticism and threats, the rogue nation has responded in typical delusional style. They are accusing South Korea of warmongering and said its allies are hell-bent on escalating confrontation. America has warned that any threat to itself or its allies would be met with a massive military response. The UN Security Council has called an emergency meeting to contain the war clouds that are hovering over the Korean peninsula. That meeting is expected to start at 7:30 p.m. India Standard Time. Now, in total, North Korea is believed to have around 1,000 ballistic missiles, although the majority are shorter range weapons with ranges of between 30 miles and 300 miles aimed at targets in South Korea, which means that if Kim the dictator decides, he can vaporize South Korea without batting an eyelid. But no one is safe from Kim. That is something that the world needs to know. In the last 2 years, the North Korean military has stepped up its test launches of a number of new missile variants that can travel more than 7,400 miles. That range is sufficient to put London, which is 5,380 miles from North Korea, within range, with Moscow, Delhi and Sydney also viable targets. North Korea's most advanced rockets are now also believed to be able to reach virtually all of continental United States, which is North Korea's enemy number one. And apart from nuclear warheads, North Korea is understood to have large stockpiles of chemical weapons as well, such as sarin, VX gas and tabun, which could theoretically be weaponized and attached to ballistic missiles.
One thing you need to know about North Korea's nuclear weapons: they're only becoming more dangerous. Each nuclear test, each missile launch only brings North Korean leader Kim Jong-un closer to his ultimate goal: an intercontinental ballistic missile with a nuclear warhead capable of striking the mainland U.S. Is he there yet? Most analysts say no, but it's only a matter of time. We're seeing this frantic pace of testing, which means that Kim's arsenal is growing quickly and becoming more advanced. Right now, North Korea could launch a devastating strike with conventional weapons on highly populated areas like Seoul or maybe even Tokyo. And soon, those missiles, perhaps with nuclear tips, will be able to go even further and with greater accuracy. Even if North Korea will never match the firepower of the U.S., they have the potential to kill a lot of people and do a lot of damage if they ever feel cornered. Kim's government views these nuclear weapons as vital to their survival as a nation. I've been to North Korea many times, and many times their officials have told me they will not give up their nuclear weapons.
And Seoul has responded to North Korea's nuclear test with a show of force, conducting 5 fire drills today live. The Army and Air Force drills, held at an undisclosed location today morning, involved launching ballistic missiles in a simulated strike against North Korea's Pyongyang nuclear test site, which was the scene of Sunday's controlled detonation of what Pyongyang claimed was a powerful hydrogen bomb. Now, in addition, Seoul and Washington are considering the deployment of a U.S. nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, strategic bomber and other military hardware to the Korean peninsula in response to Sunday's test. Seoul has also approved the complete deployment of a U.S. anti-missile system on their soil. Now, Kim Jong-un is no less than the proverbial mad king from the Game of Thrones. Here's a look at some of the many crimes that he has been accused of and how he has created a state-sponsored cult status for himself. First of all, killing off defectors and public executions are very common in the country. Kim operates political prison camps across North Korea. He is accused of ordering the assassination of his half-brother Kim Jong-nam in Kuala Lumpur airport. This year, 2 women accosted him and sprayed VX nerve agent that killed him within 20 minutes. Now, Kim is also rumored to have murdered his mentor and uncle Jang Song-taek in 2013 as part of a purge against plotters in his regime. The uncle and 5 others, we are told, were fed to 120 wild, hungry dogs. Now, reports also say that his ex-girlfriend was shot dead in cold blood for appearing in illegal pornographic films. Kim has gone through several sessions of plastic surgery to become more like his grandfather, who is the most iconic North Korean leader. Kim was promoted to the rank of general even though he has had no military experience. His birthday, the 1st of January, and there's some doubt and cloud over that as well, but his birthday is a national holiday. He's obsessed with American basketball, notably star Dennis Rodman, who's a personal friend. Kim also loves his Nikes, but he hates the US. And Kim Jong-un's hairstyle is officially called ambitious. There are 15 officially approved haircuts in North Korea to choose from. Coloring your hair is forbidden in the country. paranoia, narcissism, and abnormal attraction to violence. Now, these are some of the disturbing psychological traits that run through the Kim dynasty. What makes Kim Jong-un particularly dangerous is his unpredictability. Take a look.
Since its founding in the late 1940s, the so-called Hermit Kingdom of North Korea has been led by a family dynasty, 3 leaders with an iron grip. Kim Jong-un inherited from his father and grandfather a regime based on militarization, purges, kleptocracy, and repression. A former North Korean official who defected tells CNN the supreme leader's rule is unquestioned.
In order to deal with North Korea, we have to understand how the North Korean system works. They are like a dynasty, and the leader is worshipped as a living god.
Analysts say some disturbing psychological traits seem to run in the family.
Paranoia, narcissism, an abnormal attraction to violence. And that was the assessment of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. They were logical in their own context. They understood what they had to do to stay in power, but they had these psychological disorders.
But in other ways, says one former diplomat, the young Kim appears different.
He's not as cooperative and as communicative as his father or grandfather, and so this guy is unpredictable, he's brash, he's in essence irrational, and quite a big ego.
Kim's grandfather, Kim Il-sung, quickly deployed a personality cult around his leadership after he was installed with Soviet backing following World War II. Monuments to him are everywhere in North Korea, and his birthday is celebrated with giant festivals. Kim Jong-un emulates his look, even his hairstyle, analysts say, in an attempt to derive legitimacy.
Kim Jong-un wants to project the image of his grandfather. Kim Il-sung was viewed and is viewed by the people of North Korea as a great revolutionary. He gave them independence. He fought against the colonials. He fought against Japan. He fought against the United States in the Korean War in South Korea.
Kim Jong-il was next in line, with his penchant for luxuries like foreign liquor and Hollywood movies, coupled with his military buildup and his use of labor camps. Kim Jong-un was only in his late 20s when he took over North Korea in 2011, inexperienced in government or the military. He brought an affinity for basketball, Mercedes limos, yachts, and quickly proved wrong analysts who thought he would be just a figurehead. Kim has accelerated the missile and nuclear programs that his father and grandfather started, with more tests in a few years than his predecessors conducted in decades. But he is not depending on his father's holdover cronies. Some have been purged or executed, even his powerful uncle, Jang Song-taek, whom he suspected of betrayal.
Unlike his father, he exhibits a ruthlessness here by his actions, by the things that he's prepared to do that his father simply was not prepared to do or didn't feel the need to do it. He does.
Kim Jong-un also had his older brother killed, according to South Korean intelligence, in a bizarre airport attack this year, where 2 women smeared deadly VX nerve agent in his face. North Korea denied being behind the attack, but many analysts think Kim wanted to eliminate a rival.
The more that Kim Jong-un can eliminate any possible pretenders to the throne, the stronger of a position he'll be in.
Between his continuing purges, his family bloodline, his rubber-stamp parliament, and his payoffs to aides, Kim Jong-un has several ways to keep his country's elites in line.
He's got to have people who he feels are going to be unquestionably loyal to him, who are not going to undermine him, who are going to protect him under all circumstances.
And that's something which analysts say China is hoping for as well. The Chinese are believed to dislike Kim and disapprove of his nuclear buildup. But many experts believe the Chinese would rather see Kim in place with nuclear weapons than see him tossed from power, see North Korea collapse, and see potentially tens of millions of North Korean refugees at their border.
Now, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, separated from its southern counterpart in 1946, has largely been shrouded in mystery. While the country over time has become well known for its war tactics and the heavy-handed treatment of its people, less is known about its day-to-day life. But what we do know is truly horrifying. There's no freedom of movement. It is illegal for the North Korean people to leave their country without the regime's permission. There's no freedom of speech either. Criticism of the regime can send you to a political prison camp. There's no freedom of information. The regime has invested massive resources in trying to maintain an information blockade. There is forced leadership adulation as well. The regime forces the people to participate in the maintenance of personality cults. There's no religious freedom. Organized religion is seen as a potential threat to the regime. There is a chronic food shortage since the 90s. North Korean people have faced food shortages for a long time now. There's dismal public health. Majority of the public health care system has collapsed again in the 1990s. There's a sort of political appetite that is in play. The regime ascribes people with a level of perceived political loyalty based on your background. There are political prison camps, as we've told you. 5 of them hold an estimated 80,000 to 1,20,000 people. Some of them are the size of cities. There's collective punishment in North Korea. If your relative is prosecuted, then 3 generations of the family can be punished, and public executions, as I said, are fairly common. Some are done publicly as well for citizens who are accused of crimes. And it seems that no amount of sanctions work in North Korea or against North Korea. The last set of UN sanctions were approved less than a month ago, aiming to kill $1 billion worth North Korean exports by hitting major industries such as coal, iron ore and seafood. But analysts warned at that time as well that the measures were unlikely to be enough to make Kim back down on North Korea's rapidly advancing nuclear weapons program. So what's left for Trump to go after? What's left for America to go after? Here's the first one: oil. China is estimated to account for about 90% of North Korea's foreign trade, providing a vital link between Kim's regime and the global economy. Curtailing oil shipment to North Korea is one of the measures the US is seeking in a new package of sanctions that are being proposed. Second, textiles. Chinese companies are stepping up their use of North Korean factories to make clothes that are then labeled as made in China and exported all over the world. The size of the North Korean textile business makes it a target for future sanctions. Now, Chinese banks calls for the US to crack down harder on companies from those countries that do illicit business with Kim's regime. The US has sanctioned Chinese and Russian entities over their alleged North Korean dealings. Now, despite bearing the brunt of stiff international sanctions, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un continues to splash cash on personal luxuries and advancing the country's weapons program. But if the sanctions are having any effect on Kim's lifestyle, he's certainly not showing it. The Supreme Leader's recent purchases are thought to include a gleaming white yacht, expensive liquors, and even the equipment, we are being told, necessary to kit out a luxury ski resort.
It was during a bloody and brutal period when Kim Jong-un was on a purging and execution binge that one of Kim's top moneymakers, Ri Jong-ho, finally had enough. Kim executed his own uncle, an act which led Ri to defect.
It was a cruel and crude method of execution. After all these years living in the socialist system, I had never witnessed anything like that, executing high-level officers with anti-aircraft guns. It was not just high-level officers, but their families, their children, their followers.
Ri escaped in 2014, eventually settling in Northern Virginia last year. For decades, Ri says he worked in a unit called Office 39, which raises and manages money for Kim. Then, Ri says, he was responsible for operations which exported agricultural products. He says he brought in between $50 and $100 million a year for the regime, bypassing U.S. sanctions.
A slush fund for the leader and the leadership, through trading and other activities.
It won Ri some perks that most North Koreans wouldn't dream of.
I was given a car, a color TV, some things like that. But there was also extra side income because I was working at Office 39.
Ri said he doesn't believe the Korean peninsula is close to war, But seconds later, he warned of what Kim would do if pressured.
They got militarily prepared in terms of their nuclear and also chemical weapons. And they had a scenario that if they go to war, they would not hesitate to use these weapons against South Korea.
Is there a diplomatic solution to get us out of this crisis?
Having a meeting between the top leaders, face-to-face meeting. Then we can find out what the leader believes and what he thinks and what he wants.
What's never worked, Ri says, are sanctions against North Korea.
The vehicles used for missiles, those are vehicles that cannot be produced in North Korea. The border between North Korea and China is just a river. They're smuggled into North Korea from China.
Although Ri says he never met Kim Jong-un face-to-face, we asked him his impressions of the young dictator.
Is he cruel? Is he crazy?
It's hard for me to say. Once he makes a decision, there is no one that can oppose his decision or even advise him to a different decision.
Ri says he expects Kim to remain in power for several decades, unless, he says, there is a, quote, outside shock.
What kind of outside shock are you talking about?
North Koreans are deprived of freedom. Their mindset is almost backward. Unless there is, for example, outside information, and they can realize how isolated they are, how limited they are in terms of freedom, they are deprived. When they realize that, it could cause an internal movement.
In the next 10 minutes or so, the United Nations Security Council is meeting to contain the war clouds that are currently hovering over the Korean Peninsula. It's a story we continue to track right here on CNN News 18. There's more on that story on our website, news18.com as well. Coming up next, Sanskari Nehlani's hypocrisy stands exposed today. Kissing scenes in James Bond films may be a no-no, but he has no qualms in distributing an erotic film. How is he justifying it? That's coming up next. The epicenter this evening, and this is the shocker that is coming in from the national capital, where a British national has now been arrested from South Delhi for sodomizing visually challenged children at the National Association for the Blind in R.K. Puram. The accused, Dennis Ward, had come to India last year in October and was a donor at the association. That is how he got access to these children. He was arrested after 3 children complained against him. The Delhi police has also recovered mobile clips of Ward caught in the horrendous act. I'm going straight across to Nitisha Kashyap, who is joining us live from outside the R.K. Puram police station here in the national capital. Nitisha, what more details are you picking up? We are talking about how there are some mobile clips that have been recovered. Have these mobile clips been recovered from Ward himself, and was he the one making these films while he was sodomizing little children, blind little children, might I add?
Right, Shreya. In fact, if we talk about the investigation part, first of all, the accused British national, he has been taken into 2 days police custody. Police is saying that it is very important for them to recover more evidence. So far, they have checked his mobile phone and laptop, and they have found objectionable clippings from the laptop. And police have also said that they have seen him. There are evidence that he was sharing video clippings on WhatsApp. So police is also trying to find out whether the recipients, they are Indians or abroad also. They are also trying to check since how long he has been sodomizing the kids there in the National Association for the Blind. They are saying that so far, three minors have come out. In fact, if we talk about the incident, how it came up in the limelight, or how the police got to know about the entire incident, it was actually because of one of the staff member of this blind school. In fact, one of the staff members saw the British national doing the act and also capturing the entire thing in his mobile phone. That is when he made a PCR call to the Delhi police. Delhi police, following the standard operating procedure of POXO Act, they called an NGO, and in front of the NGO, they questioned the minor. Okay. And when they questioned the minor child, who is also a victim here, they got to know that more children are complaining of the same thing. So far 3 children have come forward. They are also trying to investigate if more children have a similar complaint of this nature.
Nitisha, explain to me how long ward has been raping these little blind children, and how is it possible for the Blind Association to not have known? I'm assuming that the rape and exploitation happened on their campus itself. It's a campus that has a large staff. What was the staff doing?
Right, Shreya, there are 2 points here. In fact, if we talk about why this incident was not reported earlier, that could be because the accused was a frequent visitor, and also he was one of the donors who would donate money to the school. Therefore, there was no suspicion on the accused. Also, because not a single child was coming forward, and especially in these cases, it has always been observed that the child always remains silent. It is only
Correct.
unless and until they are counseled that they come up. In this particular case also, it was not the child who reported first. It was one of the staff members only who saw the entire act. In fact, he was shocked. The incident took place on 2nd September. On 3rd, in the afternoon, he made a PCR call informing the police. Police, taking the action, immediately arrested the accused, and they have taken him into 2 days police remand, saying that it is very important for them to investigate the case in detail, because it's not just one minor. 3 minors. Police officially is calling him a pedophile, saying that the prima facie, the evidence seems to reflect that he is a pedophile. He was he sodomized 3 children. They are also trying to find out since how long he was doing this particular act. Shreya.
So he's a frequent visitor is what you're telling us. So there's a good chance that he has raped and exploited more than these 3 minor kids who have now come out and spoken against what Ward has been doing. Nitisha Kashyap getting us all those details from Delhi. Thank you very much. Moving now to Mumbai, where ousted Censor chief Prahlad Nehlani has made a surprising ideological U-turn on Sanskar. Nehlani has returned to business with the distribution of Julie 2, which is an erotic thriller. It's a film that would not have seen the light of day during his tenure as the censor board chief, certainly. Now remember, Nehlani's tenure was mired in controversy with his regressive list of do's and don'ts for producers. Nehlani ordered numerous cuts during certification of movies, most memorably Lipstick Under My Burqa, Udta Punjab. He also made James Bond Sanskari by slashing the number of kisses in the film.
The social media is abuzz saying that you are not sanskari anymore. How would you react?
See, मैं संस्कारी था, मैं हूँ, मैं संस्कारी रहूँगा. संस्कार हमारी भारतीय देश की जो है एक परंपरा है, उसको आप अलग नहीं कर सकते. मेरी जो जिम्मेदारी थी, मैंने जिम्मेदारी निभा दी. अब मैं CBFC में नहीं हूँ. अब मैं अपनी बिजनेस में हूँ और बिजनेस के हिसाब से जो मुझे चाहिए,
जी, संस्कार सिर्फ सेंसर बोर्ड के चीफ तक ही लिमिटेड रहते हैं.
देखिए, अब मैं उस जिम्मेदारी पे नहीं हूँ, तो आप वो जिम्मेदारी की अब मुझसे बात नहीं कर सकते. और बात जो है, जो मेरी फिल्म से है, जो मेरा बिजनेस है, उस बिजनेस के हिसाब से भी मेरी जिम्मेदारी है ऐसी फिल्म पब्लिक को दूं जिसके अंदर ऑब्ससेनिटी नहीं हो, वल्गैरिटी नहीं हो और ऐसी लैंग्वेज की प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो. मैं एडल्ट फिल्म को लेके आ रहा हूँ
आपके मूवी के ट्रेलर से ऐसा लगता है, नीलानी जी, आपके मूवी के ट्रेलर से ऐसा लगता है कि अगर यही पिक्चर किसी और ने आपके सेंसर बोर्ड चीफ रहते हुए बनाई होती तो वो तो रिलीज भी ना हो पाती.
तो देखिए, जो एडल्ट सर्टिफिकेट पहले देता मैं, और इस फिल्म में मैं भी सिर्फ एडल्ट सर्टिफिकेट चाह रहा हूँ. और इसके अंदर मुझे ये जो मैंने कहा, ऑब्ससेनिटी नहीं है, वल्गैरिटी नहीं है, लैंग्वेज नहीं है. तो जिस फिल्म में ये सारी चीज़ें ना हो और एडल्ट फिल्म एडल्ट फैमिली देख सकती है, तो मैं दावे के साथ कह रहा हूँ कि किसी को भी इस फिल्म को देखने में आपत्ति नहीं होगी. यू कैन सी विद द एडल्ट फैमिली.
आप तो मूवीज में कट्स मांग लेते थे. आप किसिंग सीन का ड्यूरेशन देख के कट करवा देते थे कि ये बहुत लंबा है, इसको छोटा करिए. लिपस्टिक अंडर माय बुर्का को आपने कहा कि ये संस्कारी नहीं है, ये तो रिलीज ही नहीं हो सकती इस कंट्री में.
अगर मैं
ये डबल स्टैंडर्ड्स नहीं थे आपके क्या?
अभी अगर जो है इसके अंदर नहीं, अगर वो मैं UA मांगता तो मेरे डबल स्टैंडर्ड की बात कर सकते हो आप. और ये सर्टिफिकेट जो है मैं नहीं दूंगा. कोई नई CBFC ऑफिसर जो होंगे वो मुझे पिक्चर मेरी पास करेंगे, और मेरे पास अथॉरिटी नहीं है कि मैं अपनी फिल्म को पास करूं, और जबकि मैं सीट पे भी नहीं हूं। तो आप ये क्वेश्चन जो है CBFC से कर सकते हैं, नॉट विद मी।
पलाश निहलानी जी, आपने अभी बोला, आपने अभी बोला कि अब मैं सेंसर बोर्ड का चीफ नहीं हूँ, मेरी कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं है। एज अ फिल्म मेकर आपकी कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं बनती है, आपको लगता है? और आप अब कह रहे हैं कि अब
मेरे पास जिम्मेदारी है पब्लिक तक पिक्चर,
मेरे पास
मेरी जिम्मेदारी सुनिए, CBFC की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है। नहीं, देखिए, जिम्मेदारी मेरी एज अ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एक वितरक के नाते भी है, और मैं आपको दावे के साथ कहता हूं कि जिस फिल्म में ऑब्स्टेनिटी नहीं है, वल्गैरिटी नहीं है, लैंग्वेज नहीं है, और एडल्ट सर्टिफिकेट मैंने मांगा है, और एडल्ट फिल्म होगी तो आपको, आप लोग पहले बोलते थे मैं फिल्म पास नहीं करता, और ये मैं जिम्मेदारी निभा रहा हूँ। तो आज आप मेरे से क्यों
नहीं, जब आपको कौन सी वल्गैरिटी दिखी थी देखिए जो आपको अपनी पिक्चर में नहीं दिखती? वो तो विजुअली एक्सप्लिसिट भी नहीं थी।
वो पब्लिक से पूछिए कि उसमें क्या था और पिक्चर कैसे रिजेक्ट हो गई। आप बोल रही है तो मैं आपसे आर्ग्यू नहीं कर सकता, क्योंकि मुझे जितने लोग मालूम है उसके अंदर ऑब्स्टेनिटी भी थी, वल्गैरिटी भी थी, लैंग्वेज भी थी। तो मैं आपको अभी कैसे दूसरी पिक्चर से मैं कंपेयर नहीं कर सकता जब तक आप ये फिल्म को नहीं देखेंगे।
वैसे भी
आपने फिल्म नहीं देखी है।
एक बात बताइए, वो भी तो एडल्ट कैटेगरी में रिलीज हो सकती थी।
मुझे सोशल रिस्पांस,
बात ये है कि सेंसर बोर्ड को
जो मैंने कहा ना कि जो चीजें वो पास हुई है, वो मैं जो पिक्चर पास हुई है
सेंसरिंग करती है।
नहीं, अरे मैंने कहा ना कि वो पिक्चर आखिर पास तो हुई ना, विद लैंग्वेज पास हो गई, ऑब्स्टेनिटी पास हो गई, वल्गैरिटी पास हो गई, और मेरी ऐसे फिल्म में कोई भी ऐसी चीज़ नहीं है जिसके अंदर किसको आपत्ति आए। थैंक यू।
And that's a crisp thank you, not wanting to take any more questions. You're sanskari and you can lecture and you can moralize when you're the censor board chief, but when it comes to your own film, it's perfectly fine for it to vulgar and for you to say that since I'm a businessman now, I don't need to be sanskari. Irony just died a million deaths. We are slipping into a quick break on the show with that. There's more on that story on our website, news18.com. Do stay with us.
He was the poster boy of Sanskar.
Look around you, James.
From cutting kissing scenes in the Bond film to clipping Urta Punjab's wings and objecting to lady-oriented lipstick under my burqa. Now Pahlaj Nihalani has a new avatar. He turns distributor for B-grade films, sells sleaze for money, says no cuts please. Has Pahlaj Nihalani exposed his own hypocrisy? On Viewpoint tonight at 9:55.
Welcome back. Now time for our special initiative, Alarm Bajne Se Pehle Jago Re, a Tata Tea campaign in association with Network 18. Now there's no dearth of sporting talent at the grassroots level in India, but we need a system which can tap them young, and the School Sports Promotion Foundation, or SSPF, is doing just that. It aims to reach out to each and every district in the country to unearth the true potential of India's sporting talent. Take a look.
Young, free, and together, working towards a common goal. That's the power of sports. All across India, there's no dearth of sporting talent. All we need is a system to recognize and nurture it. School Sports Promotion Foundation aims to do just that. With a presence in 20 states and more than 2,000 schools, SSPF organizes school tournaments and coaching camps to identify and train talent from an early age.
You started off from the school level, then onto the district, then onto the state, and finally the state level teams also go into training. And then after training, they participate in the interstate national level tournament. And then having done that, we then select a national team.
Supported by the Sports Authority of India, SSPF has grassroots initiatives covering cricket, football, volleyball, basketball and athletics.
When SSPF started, there were 870 odd schools played all over India in 16 states. And that was a record sort of a thing. And this year, from last year, it was 1200. Like every year, it's improving.
Trained at the Baichung Bhutia Football School and supported by his parents, Vardhan Dutt dreams of playing for India one day.
I'm going to study 2 years here, only 11 and 12, and after that I'll be thinking of going to Spain and hopefully represent my country.
With the target of increasing its presence to 1 lakh schools across India, SSPF is helping schools prioritize sports along with education.
You too can be part of this change. If you think that sports should be made a compulsory part of school curriculum, please join our campaign by visiting jagore.com or give a missed call on 784-784-4444. That number flashing on your screens, that's where you can sign the petition. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow evening.
Join me, Zaka Jacob, as I bring you a special live edition of Face Off at 9 from Xiamen, China, where all 5 BRICS countries have agreed to name and shame Pakistan-based terror groups like the Lashkar and the Jaish. Will this force China to drop its technical hold on the Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Maulana Masood Azhar at the United Nations Sanctions Committee 1267? The big debate on Face Off at 9, special edition from Xiamen, China.